Anna. Thanks for joining me today for a new Studio Monday video. Today I'm going to be working with a few new products from our one-of-a-kind, Encouraging Words, and CZ Design releases. All of these are some of our most recent releases that feature some really great products that are perfect for using to create encouragement cards for people that you know. I'm going to be working specifically in creating encouragement cards for kids today. Kids always need encouragement along with everybody else, but I think it's really fun to be able to use some of these products and gear them towards children. So I'm going to be creating a set of cards. This is one of them here. This features our Everett Alphas stamps from CZ Designs, also our stitched alphabet letters from our newest release, Encouraging Words, and also the Fingerprints Doodles stamp set from One of a Kind. In this video, I'll be featuring some fun techniques, including some watercolor smushing, some fun stamping techniques, and a few other tips and tricks that hopefully might help you in your creating as well. So let's get started in creating these cards and have fun. Alright, so what you're seeing here is Fingerprints, Doodles, and Everett Alphas stamp sets. These are two of the stamps that I'm going to be using today to create our cards. I really love those fingerprint doodles. They're so much fun to be able to create with, and it would be really fun if you took your own fingerprint and instead of using the stamp fingerprint, make your own in replace of that. So there's a lot of really fun ways you can use that set. So what you're seeing me do here is I'm taking a Zig Clean Color marker and I'm scribbling it onto my Art Impressions palette to create a little swatch of watercolor. I'm going to smush my watercolor paper into that ink. This is a variation to a technique I shared for the Simon Says Stamp Encouraging Words blog hop, where I took some Gonzai Tombow watercolors and did the same technique. This is a really fun way to be able to use your watercolors to create backgrounds really quickly and easily and with very little thinking effort. You don't have to think about this and figure out where you want to put the color. Just let the color and the smushing technique do it all for you. And it's so much fun to see what the different variations you're going to get from this technique. Now on all of these backgrounds, I'm using both Zig Clean Color felt and Zig Clean Color real brush markers. So it doesn't really matter what markers you use. You can even use distress ink markers or any other types of water-based markers that will react with water. Tombow markers are another great one to try. I just wanted to use some sort of marker that I could create a watercolor splotch on and then be able to transfer that onto my watercolor paper. Now if you find, like here, I'm having some trouble with this not blending as much, it's getting too splotchy for me, just take a little bit of water and spritz it and it will water it down and make it look a little bit more watercolory. So I added some water splatters on top of these panels and I'm lifting them off with my dry rag. It's going to allow me to have some water spots in my backgrounds. You can totally skip this step if you don't want the water spots, but I like adding that little bit of a texture. I think it really finishes off the backgrounds nicely. So once I had all of my backgrounds done, there's a total of 5 of them, I'm taking a stitched rectangle die from Simon Says Stamp and I'm going to cut my backgrounds out. This is the second largest stitched rectangle, so it's going to have quite a bit of a border around an A2 size card, and I wanted to be able to mat these panels with another color. So that's why I went with the second largest. If you want there to be a less border around your A2 size card, then you'll want to go with the next size of those stitched rectangle dies. Now that I have my backgrounds cut out, I'm going to start with my stamping. So I've lined up a bunch of letters from the CZ Designs Everett Alpha stamp set, and instead of using 2 O's in the word Yahoo, I actually am replacing that and going to be putting a critter inside of that second O. So right now you're just seeing the letters Y-A-H, and there's a space, and then there's another O, and then there's the exclamation point. So we're going to be replacing that second O that should be there in between the H and the O with an animal. So I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle on some white embossing powder and heat set that so I have a nice outline and perfect for being able to do some watercoloring. Because my thought was, well, I'm going to color in each of these letters and the embossed outlines will keep the watercoloring inside the lines. Or so I thought. What happened is my hand got in the way and I ended up having to fix this. So you'll see what I did in a minute here. I'll get to that in just a second. I colored in all those letters. I'm stamping one of the fingerprints, or you could do your own fingerprint. And then I'm stamping one of the critters on top of the fingerprint using some black pigment ink and adding a little bit of embossing powder. That gives it a little bit more of a raised outline and matches with the outlines of our letters. So this is where I messed up. You can see my hand rubbed into that purple ink and just went right outside the lines. And I was like, oh no. So I decided I wasn't going to be redoing this. I was just going to go ahead and make that mistake work. So
I decided I was going to color outside the lines. And I think it actually turned out really cool. It was a great way to fix my mistake and give these letters a little bit more of a playful and interesting feel, which I think works for these cards since they're going to be geared towards kids. So I did that on all of the cards. I made sure I went out of the lines and spots, and it gave them a really neat effect. So I was really pleased, even though I messed up and wasn't planning on doing it this way, I was able to fix my mistake and be able to use it in my design in a way that I think really worked out nicely. So I took a supporting sentiment from that Fingerprints Doodle stamp set, and I'm heat embossing it onto strips of cardstock that match the colors in each of my cards. So each card has a different color for the supporting sentiment underneath, which says, "So proud of you." So I think this is a really great way to also use up some scraps, which I've been really trying to do lately. I've been trying to get through all of my scraps in my scrap bin. So here's a look at all the cards that I've got so far, and I'm going to be matting them each with these different colors of card bases that you see here. But I wanted to add a design to the card bases because I thought they were too plain. So I wanted to do a tone-on-tone background stamp with these really cute stitched alphabet stamps from Simon's Encouraging Words release. So I added some ink onto that stamp. I have not removed any of the letters. This is in the stamp set itself. So I just went ahead and added the ink on the stamp set itself, and now I'm pressing my card base into that stamp set. Now I have these really great tone-on-tone letters on each of my card bases because I was able to use that Simon Says Stamp embossing ink to get a watermark effect. And it's totally great to be able to go ahead and use the stamp set as is without having to remove all of the letters and place them in a space that you'd like. I wanted them to just be as they were, so I went ahead and used them right from the stamp set itself. I added some fun foam to the backside of each of my little panels here, and I'm attaching them down then onto my card bases. And then to finish off the cards, I used some glossy accents and covered over top of each of the letters to give them a more dimensional feel. And then I also took some Nuvo Black drops and added that on top of each of the eyes of the critters just to give them a little bit more of an intense look. It makes them pop a little bit more. So these cards were so much fun to create. I had a lot of fun playing around with the different techniques that I used in each of these cards. And I really love the fact that these products work so well together in creating these cards perfect for kids. But again, you could adapt this design for any type of person that you want to be able to give an encouragement card to. This card design is really easy to adapt into the style that you're looking for. So I hope that today's video has inspired you in creating some encouragement cards using some of the newest products from Simon Says Stamp. Thanks so much for stopping by and spending some time with me. You can give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more inspiration. Thanks again for visiting with me. I will see you again very soon. Bye!